Hey everybody, Mark Maya here. Um, really thankful you're here. Really quickly, let me fix my light up in here. Really quickly, if you are watching this and you think that you have some other folks that are photographers that would benefit from learning how to connect with their clients, trying to get my white balance squared away here with my light. Learn how to connect with their clients. Please share this. There's a share button somewhere on your screen around here. I have no clue, honestly, what it looks like on your side, but that's one thing I want you to do. Number two, I want you to go over here in the chat area and drop how you connect with your clients whenever you're out on shoots. What is it that you do to try to connect? Okay, even if it's a small thing, throw it over there. We can all benefit from it. Okay. So, putting comments. Also, during this chat, if you're on Instagram watching live, then you can drop a question in the comments. If you're watching here on Crowdcast or somewhere else, then you can drop a question over in the comments area. Okay. I'm going to be talking about four things for the next few minutes. The first thing are the benefits of connecting with clients during shoots. Second thing is how to overcome anxiety during shoots so you can connect more. Third thing, how I personally connect with my own clients. And thank you so much for communicating. There's an echo. And then the final thing are techniques I've seen other photographers use. Hey, Krista, what's up? So does everybody, if you're watching on Crowdcast, let me know that y'all can hear me well, or if there's something else that needs to be changed. And I'll do that. How does everything sound now, y'all? All good? Word. Thank you. Okay, so what are some of the benefits of connecting with your clients during the shoot? Okay, so I've talked about how to connect with them maybe before the shoot, but what are the benefits of connecting with them during shooting? The number one benefit, in my opinion, is when you're able to connect on a deeper, more introspective, relationship based level. It makes them feel better about you and trust you more. And why is that a good thing? Why do you want them to trust you more? Why do you want them to feel good during shoots? You want them to trust you so they don't stand there and look awkward and feel awkward, which makes the photos look like crap. Do you agree or disagree? That definitely makes photos look like crap, right? When your clients are awkward, when they're uncomfortable, when they don't trust the person that's in front of them directing them, they are going to feel awkward and they're going to look awkward. It's going to translate into the photos. I straight up tell my clients this before I shoot with them. I say, nobody likes the way we look when we're stressed and anxious and when we're uncomfortable and awkward. So I communicate to them a few other ways too. I also educate them and teach them on like body language, facial expressions, some mindfulness techniques during the shoots. That's another video we'll talk about though. So that's a huge benefit for connecting with them. Number two, they are going to like you better and they're going to remember how you made them feel. I'm sure that you have heard motivational speakers or self-care, mindfulness gurus talk about this, but people aren't going to remember anything except how you made them feel. It's the only thing they're going to remember about you. Okay, so when you're talking to anybody, it's so important. If you believe this, it's so important to make sure that they leave with a good feeling about you. Okay. those are two of the main benefits that I have figured out in my business, that connecting with my clients during shoots helps. Okay. Um, and, why is it that we want our clients to leave feeling good about us? Well, there's so few people in the world right now, especially right now, that are communicating and uh, vibrating good feelings and good frequencies and good vibes all around them. And um, it's extraordinary when you can make somebody feel good just by doing your normal job. They love that stuff and they remember it. Okay. All right. Second thing, or first of all, does anyone have any questions about the benefits of connecting with your clients during shoots at all? Either on Instagram down there or on Crowdcast here. If it's really, really good, I can even bring you on live. So while you're thinking about that, I'm going to go into the next one, which is how to overcome anxiety during shoots. Okay. So just to give you a quick backstory about why I even decided I was going to discuss anxiety. I have a deep history having anxiety in my life. I remember from early on, this feeling inside my gut when hard things would come about. I am a perfectionist. So if you're a perfectionist, you completely understand what I'm talking about with anxiety. I want things to be the way that I want them. I like being in control to an extent. So because of those two things, a lot of anxiety is created. Also, anxiety spurs from self-identity, confidence, trusting yourself, or trusting someone else to do what they say they're going to do or what you expect them to do. Okay. So this is where anxiety comes from. So how do I deal with that during my shoots? Because I remember when I first started shooting, especially when I was doing couples, I mean, I could not think. I felt paralyzed. My creative juices weren't flowing. Um, and I just wanted to go lay down for hours and hours and hours after those shoots. And they just weren't fun. They really were not fun. And so I quickly had to figure out what it is that I have to do to lower my anxiety so I can get into my creative flow. Okay. And so one of the big ways that I overcome that and um, overcome the social anxiety of connecting with humans and creating art for humans that they're paying for. One of the ways that I do that is I make sure that I try to build a relationship before I see them on the shoot day. Okay. So here's a scenario. When my clients contact me, I instantly call them on the phone, have a conversation about them. The other day, I mean, I was out in my garden working, and when my client or somebody called me, or no, I'm sorry, I was out in my garden working, and I guess I saw an email from a lead, and I instantly was like, okay, I got a call. I called and just BS with them about what I was doing. I was like, yeah, I'm pouring sweat out in my garden right now. And then after that, I was like, hey, could you all meet up with me so we can get to know each other a little bit more, and I can tell you about what I do. Okay, and there's where I pitched my packages, and they hire me, and then after I've already met them face to face, I've talked to them on the phone. We've built a relationship before the shoot even happens. Okay, so there's there's this gap of interpersonal connection and relationship that doesn't get filled when the relationship is not established before the shoot. So that's the primary way that I have um, prepared for and combated the anxiety that I know is going to come up in me. Okay. Um, the second thing that I do is I over prepare more than anybody else. There's no one who prepares more than me for shoots. I guarantee it. One of the ways is I am communicating and talking with my clients. I'm chatting with them. I'm trying to figure out what it is that they envision for themselves. And if it doesn't align with my vision and my work, then how can I communicate to them my vision or mesh the two? Okay. So I have them go back to my blog and my portfolio, and I actually have them go to Pinterest and create a mood board from my blog. So not only are they looking back through my work, not only are they going and creating a whole Pinterest board from my work and pimping it out on Pinterest, but they are communicating to me their vision. That way I can connect with them and be like, oh, okay, I have a great place. I see that you pinned that photo from that one engagement session I did at the Eno River. I have a great location that's similar that would be great for you guys. Okay. Those are the type of things that help me feel prepared. Okay. And really, I just kind of asked them to do all the work. Um, I I just want to make sure that everyone is informed so we all can make really good decisions for each other. All right. And that helps me with my anxiety. I'm not sure what helps you with your anxiety. Um, if you want to throw a comment down there on Instagram or over here on Crowdcast, I'd love to hear how you deal with um, uh, shooting anxiety, in the middle of shoots. It's hard stuff. It's really hard stuff, especially for beginners, because we don't have the experience base. We don't have the trust built up yet in ourselves to be able to move forward without a pretty high level of anxiety. Okay. So I hope that was clear. I know it's kind of rambling there. So, how do I actually connect with my clients during shoots? Okay. So, it's one thing to prepare ahead of time. It's one thing to know the benefits. It's one thing to recognize that you have anxiety during shoots, so you can be more creative. But how is it that I actually do that? Okay. Um, the number one way I talked about it earlier a little bit is beforehand. I address their anxiety and their hesitancies. Every single couple that I shoot, they are worried that they're not going to look as good as they want to. Every single one. There's without a doubt, it doesn't matter how confident they are, they're worried about it. Why? It's been a little bit of a buildup for them. They have um, they've overthought what they're going to wear. They've overthought the location. You have hopefully communicated with them a bunch of times already, so they know that this is really important to you. Um, they're full of anxiety as well. So addressing their anxiety and their hesitancies and insecurities is so important. One way I do that is I educate them on how to look good. I tell them, I learned this from yoga, but if you do yoga, you may know it. But when we're stressed and tense and in a new situation many times, or meeting a new person, we walk around and we push the um, roof of our mouths pretty hard with our tongue. And what does that do? You can do it right now. It tightens these muscles over here, which makes us look not good, right? Not the way we want to. We look stressed and tense. So I tell them, hey, let your tongue just float down to the middle of your mouth and relax. That's a good way to do it. I teach them about um, how to focus on each other during the shoot rather than me. That's a great way to um, for me to connect with them. Why? I don't want them looking at me. I don't want them like sitting looking at my camera. I don't like that. That's not my style. So I tell them, hey, just try to ignore me. And that kind of relieves a little bit of the anxiety with me too, because I don't want them sitting there worrying about me during shoots doing my job. I want them to focus on the connection with each other. So I tell them, hey, try to ignore me, look at each other, BS, talk dirty to each other. I also reassure them that number one, the photos are going to look beautiful. They're going to look better than they expect. I also reassure them that the shoot is not going to feel like a shoot. It's going to feel like a little adventure where we just hang out and have fun together. That's what I try to reassure them. So um, there are probably other little tips and techniques and tools that you have to connect with clients, but those are the ways that I do it in the moment. All right. Um, some other ways in the middle of shooting, I like to stop shooting often, and I'll literally be shooting and um, when I'm ready to maybe move on or repose or something like that, I'll pull my camera down, put it off, let it hang off my strap, and I'll just sit there and I'll ask them a question about their lives that they had told me before to completely interrupt um, the likely anxiety that's been building, because you can't stop that. You can't stop their anxiety. You can't stop their stress and their tension from having photos taken, but you can interrupt that mindset and that thought process with just normal relationship conversation that has nothing to do with photography. So I often in the middle of shoots will stop and just small talk with them. um, I'm talking maybe even a fourth of my shoot is small talk, but I do it so much. So that is a great way that's worked for me. Um, Please let me know what works for you guys. Some stuff that I've seen, number four, stuff that I've seen other photographers use to connect with clients. When I was up in Chicago, out in Chicago, not up, I guess it's in the Midwest. Um, when I was in Chicago teaching with Brett Bruner, he led a couple shoot, and he started off his shoot making them walk like zombies towards him. And, so that was literally the first pose for them, completely obliterated all hesitancies and all the BS of conservatism. And they completely just loosened up and relaxed and was like, okay, the very, very first shot is us looking like zombie walking. So he actually had them walk together like zombies towards him as he shot in the first one. And I was like, that is genius. Absolutely genius. Now, if you know Brett Bruner, he's a complete goofball. So that made total sense to me when I was like, man, that's a way that he connects with his clients. He's just a complete goofball, and he's very charismatic and happy. So it made sense for me. I tried it a couple times afterwards, and I was like, okay, this could be something in the future, but I have to shelf this. I need more experimentation with it, because that's just not my personality generally. I will say that I tried it with some teenagers right after that workshop, and it seemed to work a lot better with teenagers for me than it did for like my wedding and engagement couples. Okay. Um, so some other stuff that I've seen photographers do. When I was teaching out in Asheville, I saw photographers confidently step in and notice when a couple or a client or a model was needing direction. They were just kind of like during the headlights look, like I don't know what to do. They weren't saying I need help, but you could see that they were with their body language and their facial expression communicating, I need someone to tell me exactly what to do. So one of these badass photographers that was at my workshop jumped in and completely took over the shoot, and it was awesome. She jumped in, started moving the model around. Of course, asked to touch the models first, and then after that, after you had their consent, she just started grabbing them, moving around, and they loved that because they didn't have to make the decision themselves. Um, it was completely the creative control of the photographer that took charge, and that was highly highly effective. And from that moment after the shoot, it all was just beautiful and simple, and there was no forcing anything. So um, being aware of clients in the moment was an effective technique that photographer used. Okay. So if you have other techniques on how you've connected with clients, please don't mind here for everybody else to connect with. So those are the four discussion points. Does anybody have any questions on Instagram, Crowdcast, or Facebook? You have any questions about anything that I went over as I finish up this very short discussion on how to connect with clients during shoots? While people are thinking about that and throwing those questions in the comments, I do want to tell you about my new community called Creative Commonwealth. We are a community of photographers that believe in helping each other. We believe in mutual concern for each other. We believe in being completely open with one another. We believe in sharing everything. Um, we are a guru-free community. That means there's no one who has the end-all, know-all answers. I do not. I don't pretend to there. We all are equal there. We all equally contribute. We are all equally valued. And if this sounds like you're a good fit for it, then you can go to community.markmed.com, or if you're on Crowdcast, there should be a button down there at the bottom. You can go check it out, or you can just ask me some questions about it. I love talking about this. It's what I've worked on for the past 9 months of my life here. I've completely spent most of my photography education energy on building this community and making sure it's good for our industry and all. So a question from Instagram from Megan: what are some prompts that you use to get to loosen up and draw out genuine emotion? Good question, Megan. So one of my, this is an interesting trick, and it will not work for everyone. One thing that I do, especially in the beginning of shoots, with couples, I shoot really wide. So if you know my work, I focus on composition a lot. Composition is very, very important to me. So I love spending time looking at the back of my camera, framing, doing lighting, things like that. So what that does is gives me an opportunity to create space between my clients. So before I do that, because many times I'm so far away that I can't speak to them, I'll say, hey, y'all just chat with each other for a few minutes while I get my light together and while I get my camera settings going to go, and I'll let you know when I want you to do something different. When that happens, they end up creating these beautiful, beautiful moments. And while I'm getting my camera settings, I'm also shooting. So I am changing my settings, but I am sitting there being like, oh, wow, there's a moment happening. Let me wait for it. And I'm in live view all the time. So it doesn't look like I'm sitting there shooting because my face isn't up on the camera, which is another kind of barrier between us and our clients that disconnects us from them. So I'm in live view. I'm holding my camera up. I'm looking at them most of the time. And, if I need to, I look at the back of the camera, but rarely do you see me with my eye up here. I want to show them my face. So that's one way that I do that to draw out that genuine emotion, is I just try to take myself out of the scenario. Any way possible I can do that, where I don't interrupt their connection and the emotions that's created there. And so I don't have these little tricks that I say to them. I just pay attention. I really pay attention to them. I pay attention to how they connect. I had a couple that hired me. It was my first destination wedding, actually, and I'm so damn excited. My first out of country destination wedding at a Sandals resort next year, and they hired me. But they also got an engagement shoot, and they're the goofiest couple. They're not very romantic and intimate, but they laugh all the time. So I like laughing and stuff, but if you know my work, it's not my vibe. My stuff is the really deep, emotional, passionate stuff, right? So I had to just roll with those punches, and I had to embrace the fact that every single good photo is probably just going to be them of laughing at each other and bullshitting, and I accepted that. And so paying attention, getting to know your clients first and foremost, then in the moment you can make those creative decisions. So thank you so much, Megan. I hope that answered that question in some way. A question from Crowdcast. Krista asked, what are some ways you like to connect with a client who might be modeling solo, not wedding or engagement type? Now, this is where I think a lot of photographers have the biggest challenge. Models have their very own style, especially experienced ones. So they have ways of doing things. So number one, I make sure I vet my models, and similarly, I want to have a phone conversation with them before. I might do a video chat with them. I'm I'm texting them back and forth. Hey, what do you think you'd like to wear? Things like this, making them involved in the process is one of the pre-production ways that I am able to connect with them on the shooting day. In the middle of shooting models, it's a challenge. Shooting models is it's just hard. It's really, really hard, um, especially if you don't know them, and especially if they're beginners too, because um, having no connection previously and also a model trying to build their portfolio with experience, it makes for a really, really hard situation. I would say some of the worst shoots I've ever had were when I was doing these test promo shoots with models back in my basement days, and I didn't have these techniques to roll out. I didn't have the creative juice to even attempt some of these techniques that I've been talking about with models. So I just was like, okay, this is the way models look. And I was like, not happy with the shoot. So the next shoot, I tried to get to know the model a little bit more. I tried to connect with them a little bit more, talk to them about their life, loosen them up out of model mode, because some models, especially the more experienced ones, are very focused, and they know how to get into flow really quickly. They know how to pose themselves really quickly. And an interesting thing that I have learned over the past few years, as I've shot more and more models specifically, is they actually want a lot more direction from the photographer than you think they do. Even experienced ones, they still want you to throw your creative style in it. They still want you to pose them in your way. That's been hard for me because I automatically was like, oh, models know what they're doing. I don't want to step on their toes. I don't want to make them feel like their years of experience modeling is not valuable and worthy of showing up in my work. So that was a challenge to get over, and that was also a wonderful thing that a few models over the past couple of years have opened up to me and educated me on. They're like, I love when photographers do this, and this. I hate when photographers do this, and this. I wish things were different with this, and this during shoots. So I hope that answers that question, Krista. If anybody has any more questions, we've got a few more minutes. I'd love to answer them. Thank y'all so much for all the love on Instagram. If you're watching on Crowdcast or Facebook, I'd love for you to follow me on Instagram at MarkMeaPhoto. Actually, yeah, it's at MarkMeaPhoto. I thought I changed it, but at MarkMeaPhoto. And again, if you feel like this was a valuable discussion for you and there were some tips that you can implement right now, whether you got to shoot today or this week or in the next couple weeks, you feel like this is valuable, try to experiment and implement some stuff into your next shoot from this talk. Also, I would love for you to share this with somebody else who might be having a shoot coming up really soon if you feel like it'll be valuable for them. If you need more clarification on anything that I talked about or that I discussed, then feel free to DM me or email me at markmeaphoto@gmail.com, or anywhere else that I am on the internet. So doesn't look like anybody else has any questions, so I'll just go ahead and call it a success. And thank y'all. I appreciate you spending your lunch break or wherever you are with me to improve yourself and improve our industry. Thank you so much. It's not only going to make you better to discuss these things and experiment and try these things, but it's also going to make our whole industry better by helping one another. So again, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you for free, one-on-one. Just DM me, email me, or find me somewhere else. If you're in Creative Commonwealth and you're watching this, you actually have a really special, unique discussion section that actually created this morning before this chat. And I threw it in the mastermind with Michael Kent on client experience. And I think his mastermind is called Magical Client Experiences. And you can actually go inside of his mastermind, answer that question right now, and we'll have a more detailed, intimate discussion together today inside of Creative Commonwealth. If you want to join us, you can go to community.markman.com. If you're in Crowdcast, you can click down there and check it out. So thank you all again. This was amazing, and I'll talk to you really soon. Have a wonderful day.